Hello lovely viewers, and welcome back to the Bold and the Beautiful News official YouTube channel, your top destination for the most explosive CBS soap updates. Make sure to smash that subscribe button and give this video a huge thumbs up. Poppy confesses her final secret at Luna's funeral. It's about Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Los Angeles was quiet, far too quiet. The Forrester estate stood solemn under a thick cloud of mourning, and yet, something unspeakable was brewing beneath the surface. It was supposed to be a peaceful day. It was supposed to be Luna Nozawa's moment of grace. But as friends and family gathered to say goodbye to the girl who had once brought so much light to their lives, a storm of secrets, regrets, and explosive revelations came crashing down in the most heartbreaking way possible. As Luna's funeral began, delicate white orchids lining the chapel walls, somber hymns echoing over misty hills, no one could have anticipated what Poppy Nozawa was about to do. She had stayed silent for far too long. She had hidden truths even from herself. But now, at her daughter's funeral, it was time to speak. It was time to release the secret that could shake the entire Forresters to their core. And with one trembling breath, Poppy confessed everything. The final secret. The one no one saw coming. The funeral becomes her confession chamber. Today, Poppy said, standing in front of the closed casket, her voice breaking under the weight of her grief, I give my daughter back to God. But before I do, I must tell you all the truth. I owe it to Luna, and I owe it to each of you. Gasps echoed through the pews. Steffi clutched Finn's hand tightly. Ridge leaned forward. Brooke's face tightened with confusion. And in the back row, hidden in shadows, Lee Finnegan's eyes narrowed, because she knew what was coming. Or at least, she thought she did. I lied to Luna her entire life. Not just about who her father was, but about something even deeper. Poppy's voice wavered. And if I don't speak it now, I'll carry this guilt to my own grave. Encouraging words from an unlikely source. Just moments before her confession, Poppy had nearly collapsed. She couldn't face them, the Forresters, the Logans, the Finnegans, and most of all, herself. But it was Hope Logan who stepped forward, placing a gentle hand on Poppy's shoulder. If you're going to say something, Hope whispered, say it with love. Luna loved you, Poppy. No matter what. This is your moment to free your soul. Not to punish it. Poppy looked into Hope's eyes and nodded. That one sentence, say it with love, gave her the strength to begin. Hope's words served as a kind of spiritual baptism for the grieving mother, allowing her to cleanse herself in the only way left, truth. Luna wasn't mine to claim. And then, the words came tumbling out like a flood of fire and ice. Luna wasn't my biological daughter, Poppy finally confessed. A stunned silence swept over the room. She was Lee's. Born during a time of chaos, when both our lives were torn apart. Lee gave birth in secret. She never wanted anyone to know. She asked me to take the baby, raise her as mine, and I did. For all these years, I let Luna believe I was her mother, when I was really just her aunt. Brooke gasped audibly. Finn's knees buckled. And Lee stood up, shaking with rage. You don't get to twist this now, Poppy. Lee's voice was sharp enough to cut glass. You're still lying. You think this absolves you? After everything you did to her? Poppy turned, eyes full of tears but voice steady. I made mistakes, yes. But I loved her like she was my own. She was my daughter in every way that mattered, except biology. And now she's gone, and I will never get the chance to make this right. But you still can, Lee. You can honor her memory with truth. But the room wasn't ready for forgiveness. Not yet. Especially not Finn, who stood up with trembling hands. You mean to tell me Luna was my sister? My real sister? And you let me fall in love with her, knowing that secret? Poppy froze. The air became so cold, it felt like death had returned to the room. The silence was louder than any scream. I didn't know at first, Poppy whispered. By the time I did, you were both in love. I couldn't destroy you both. You did destroy us, Finn roared. You killed her with your lies. If I had known, if any of us had known. Don't you dare put her death on me. Poppy cried. She was pushed to the edge by all of us. You. Lee. Me. Even Steffi and Sheila. We all played a role. Sheila's name sparks more chaos. And just like that, the mere mention of Sheila Carter's name threw the entire chapel into turmoil. Sheila doesn't belong in this conversation, Steffi said sharply, stepping forward. She's dead. And thank God for that. She was a monster. But Poppy shook her head. Sheila wasn't the one who drove Luna to that beach house. It was love, and desperation, and fear. Luna feared what would happen if the truth ever came out. She feared she'd lose you, Finn. And now? Now she's gone, Finn said through gritted teeth, turning his back on everyone. The sky weeps for Luna. As Poppy fell to her knees beside the casket, the skies outside began to weep. Rain fell in thick sheets, tapping against the stained glass windows like the beat of a heart breaking. She loved you, Finn, Poppy sobbed. Even if it was wrong. Even if the world wouldn't understand. She didn't want to be your sister. She didn't know. She only knew love. No one moved. Not even Steffi, who had once been so quick to rage against her rivals. Even she was struck silent now, because in the middle of the storm, something had become clear. They all had blood on their hands. In just the first moments of Luna's funeral, the event turns into a baptism of truth, guilt, and regret. Poppy confesses that she was never Luna's biological mother. That honor belonged to Lee Finnegan, and suddenly, Luna and Finn's tragic romance took on a new, devastating context. Encouraging words from Hope tried to guide the tone, but angry threats from Lee and Finn exploded like landmines. The name Sheila re-emerged, emotions boiled over, and outside the chapel, nature mourned alongside them. But this was only the beginning. Because Poppy's confession wasn't the only one coming. As we always do on early edition day. We talk about what's coming the rest of this week first. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers, Finn's choice and hospital chaos. So on Wednesday, July 9th, we've got, Finn helping at the Art Academy. He's trying to keep Liam Spencer alive while the first askers come. Steffi Forrester's on the phone calling for help. Sheila Carter has her little toe bleeding. We've got Luna bleeding out as well. Everybody's going to be transported over to the sanitarium. So, Bridget Forrester, Lee Finnegan, and Grace Buckingham are all operating on projectile victims. Now, it looks like Lee and Bridget are presumably operating on Liam because those two are doing surgery together. And that makes sense because Lee shouldn't be operating on Luna. And since she's in with Bridget and Liam's injuries may be more salvageable, we'll see. But that should leave Grace doing surgery on Luna, notoriety she doesn't know and has no ties to family-wise. That's ethical. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers. Sheila's down another toe, so Sheila is presumably going to get a band-aid and a three-toed sock. I'm enough sure Luna shot her in the same bottom where she formerly lost a toe in her right bottom. I looked back at some aged filmland of when Sheila first cut her own toe off. And so I don't know if she's going to be down to 3. However, she's going to start looking like a idleness, if she's going to be 8-toed Sheila. Carter's promise and the hospital rush anyway. Carter Walton makes a pledge to Hope Logan that he'll be the stylish stepdad as possible to baby Beth, who's not so jejune presently. But he wants Liam to stay involved as long as he can. Obviously, when they're having this discussion, they've not yet heard that Liam has been shot. So, once they find out about the firing, they're going to rush over to the sanitarium soon. Everybody's rushing towards the sanitarium. Ridge Forrester and Taylor Hayes are going to be there. Bill Spencer's going to be notified and he's going to head over there. Thursday's exposure's death and opinion on Bold and the Beautiful. So, on Thursday, July 10th, notoriety learns a hard verity about Liam. Presumably Bill, he's going to find out the youthful woman that he got a amnesty is the bone that shot his son Liam and he may die. He's in life-saving surgery. And I wonder at what point that Bill's going to be told that Liam has cancer, like is someone going to tell him since Taylor knows and Steffi knows and Hope knows and Finn knows, or if when Liam comes out and it's post-surgery and they're giving Bill a report, they'll say, well, the projectile is, taken care of. Still, this is the prognostic on the cancer. And Bill's like, what cancer? So, we also find out on Thursday that notoriety failed. It's Luna. Lisa Yamada has gone on to other systems. Liam is going to survive his surgery, but according to a veritably dependable leaker, it looks like he's going to be in a coma and Luna should be officially declared dead and gone and everybody can celebrate, pull out the champagne on Thursday. Bold and the beautiful Finn drops the ball? And when and if Liam wakes from his coma, he can thank Finn because when he busted in, he saw that Liam was down and shot. He saw his son Luna was down and shot. His mama Sheila had a meat crack. And Steffi said, save Liam, and that's what Finn did. Indeed, Sheila didn't suggest that Finn stop tending Liam and go check on Luna. So, actually, it could be that Finn and him not giving his son any medical attention is the reason Luna didn't survive and Liam does. I'll say I really didn't like Liam when he was waffling between Hope and Steffi, but he completely changed my mind. I've no way loved Liam as much as when he put a pellet in Luna. It was a total badass move. Friday's fallout wrathfulness, battle, and Poppy's statement on Friday, July 11th, Bill is dealing with a lot of wrathfulness from Luna's victims, but he's hopeless and just wants to see Liam for himself. So, Bill is facing a battle. Ridge and Taylor are coming at him at the sanitarium for the big part he played in all this. Steffi's going to have some effects to say, Hope and others. It's going to get super messy for Bill, who's frantic with solicitude about Liam. And again, he's got to be told also about the cancer. Lee is stunned at commodity that Poppy Nozawa says, a firm statement she makes. And I wonder if Poppy's going to say she's glad that Luna is dead. Or, Poppy might say commodity harsh about how Finn should have saved his son rather of Liam. I don't know. I tend to suppose Poppy might feel relieved that Luna is gone and she may wish that her son is just at peace and that this puts an end to everything. Bold and the beautiful July 14th to 18th guilt, grief, and implicit reconciliation. Bold and the beautiful spoilers see Bill is absolutely drowning in guilt. I suppose Bone Bill may no way forgive himself for unleashing Luna with Liam in a coma from the projectile on top of the cancer. I mean, he was frail indeed before he was shot. And that was his whole thing about why he didn't mind shooting Luna, because he's like, I'm a dead man anyway. What's anybody going to do? And he put a pellet in her. So, I'm sure that Steffi and a whole bunch of others are going to lash out at Bill while he's at his low point, and they presumably feel like Liam merited better than his pater. Unleashing that monster on everybody. Hope and Carter are going to be over at the sanitarium veritably upset. Steffi and Finn and others, everybody's going to be frantic about Liam as he remains in this coma for an indeterminate quantum of time. Bold and the beautiful, is Lee done with Poppy? Hopefully, not too long. So Lee may be absolutely done with her family Poppy after Luna's death. Lee may condemn her for Finn having a secret son he didn't know about and also having to see Luna die. I'm sure Finn is just sick about all this. He presumably doesn't remorse saving Liam. But the whole thing is just awful. Lee obviously will sympathize with her son Finn and condemn Poppy for all this mess. Sheila's going to be disaccorded again. Luna is dead. Finn saved Liam rather of his son. Sheila loved Luna and will miss her, but she also knows that her granddaughter was no way going to stop. Deacon Sharp will be happy that Luna is dead. He may be a little more polite about it when talking to Sheila, but he's going to be happy she survived and obviously sympathetic that she got shot in the bottom, has further toe damage. I just wonder if Luna happened to shoot her in that same little gob and she just re-injured just the gob of the toes she still had rather of her being down 2 toes. Now Hope is going to be absolutely frantic about Liam. She allowed. They had further time, however, like while he's formerly in a coma, they're like, if this coma incident ever helps them have the bandwidth to cure his cancer. I don't suppose that Carter is going to be suitable to hang on to Hope. I'm assuming Liam's going to pull through this, however, I'm allowing they would have done it formerly, if they were going to kill him. We'll see. Bold and the Beautiful fallout, romance, and Sheila's fate. There's going to be huge fallout in general from the firing. Nothing is the same after losing Luna, which people are fine with, but nearly losing Liam and Steffi's life being at threat again. Finn again is going to just be sick about this whole thing. He's going to detest that Steffi was hovered and Liam was shot. And he may detest that he feels relieved that Luna is gone. Poppy may be exiting soon now that her son is pushing up daisies and there's nothing left for her. And we're going to see effects take center stage soon. Brooke Logan and her Nick love are going to move on to the frontal burner. Ridge's engagement with Taylor going to move to the frontal burner. We've that remote shoot coming in Italy where Ridge realizes he's fated to be with Brooke. Taylor and Ridge are going to be there for Steffi. She and Hope are going to be keeping a surveillance at Liam's bedside. And effects may look up for Sheila after this because she risked her life to save Steffi. It all starts with Finn desperately trying to save a life, Liam Spencer's, right on the art school floor while chaos swirls around him. He's pressed into emergency action before the paramedics even arrive. Steffi Forrester is screaming into the phone, demanding help, frantic, terrified that her husband or ex-husband, depending on which timeline you're on, might bleed out before help arrives. The carnage is real. Sheila Carter is clutching her bloodied foot, yet again down another toe, a morbid déjà vu that even longtime fans can't ignore. Blood pools at her sandal as she hisses in pain, and everyone wonders, was it the same foot where she once mutilated herself to escape prison? If so, she's now Sheila Three Toes, a horrifying metaphor for the cost of revenge. Meanwhile, Luna Nozawa lies slumped, bleeding heavily and fading fast. There's no redemption left in her eyes, only regret and delirium. Finn's triage choice is the baptismal moment: who lives, who dies? He chooses Liam, cradling the man who was once his rival, while his daughter withers nearby, helpless. Across town, medical teams are scrambled. Dr. Bridget Forrester, Dr. Lee Finnegan, and Dr. Grace Buckingham are suiting up for emergency surgery. Lee and Bridget are assigned to operate on Liam. Ethics demand that Lee not treat Luna, her secret granddaughter. Grace, with no emotional attachment, is left to work on Luna's dying body. But by the time she gets to the OR, is it already too late? The hospital halls flood with characters. Hope Logan and Carter Walton race in after hearing of the shooting. Carter had just promised to be the best stepfather to Beth, but now Liam's fate could upend everything. Ridge Forrester, Taylor Hayes, and Bill Spencer are on their way too. And Bill? He's about to be hit by an avalanche of revelations. Drop of Blood Thursday, July 10th, encouraging words and final breaths. The tone shifts to a different kind of intensity. Encouraging words flow in hushed hospital rooms, but they're quickly swallowed by the death knell of a character's exit. Word spreads: Luna has died. The confirmation stings hard, even to those who loathed her actions. Actress Lisa Yamada has exited the show, and her final scene is as brutal as it is definitive. CPR fails. The monitors flatline. A pulse cannot be found. Luna Nozawa is dead, and with her, Poppy's last hope. Meanwhile, Liam clings to life. He's wheeled out of surgery and placed into a medically induced coma. The bullet was removed. His vitals are stable. But there's something more. A secondary diagnosis is revealed: a bombshell kept quiet far too long. Liam has cancer. The surgery team caught it while he was open on the table. And now, those who knew but kept silent, Taylor, Finn, Hope, face the wrath of Bill Spencer, who explodes when he's told. Cancer? He roars. Why didn't anyone tell me? He breaks down, his knees buckling. His son might die, not just from the gunshot, but from the silent killer growing inside. Rage floods him, but it's tangled with grief and guilt. The woman he helped free from prison, Luna Nozawa, turned a gun on his son. How does he reconcile that? Collision Friday, July 11th, angry threats erupt and Poppy snaps. At the hospital, tempers boil over. Bill is the epicenter of confrontation. Ridge and Taylor lash out, questioning why he ever let Luna around his son. Steffi unleashes her own fury, blaming Bill for giving Luna access to Liam despite the warning signs. Hope, heartbroken, stands silent, her eyes fixed on the man in a coma who still holds her heart. But it's Poppy Nozawa who delivers the day's most shocking moment. In a haze of shock and devastation, she offers a statement no one expects. Maybe it's for the best. Luna's at peace now. Gasps echo down the corridor. Lee Finnegan, her sister, is stunned and furious. How could a mother say that about her child? But Poppy's grief twists into guilt and relief. She knows her daughter was spiraling. And now, she blames Finn. You chose him over your daughter, Poppy hisses at Finn. You let her die. Finn, stunned, can't answer. He did what any doctor would, save the one with the best chance. But as a father? He'll never forgive himself. Candle July 14th to 18th, guilt, grief, and the aftershocks of death. The ripples from Luna's death spread fast. Bill Spencer, once brash and proud, crumbles in shame. He let Luna into Liam's life, thinking it would help. Instead, he might have destroyed him. I killed my son, he mutters to no one, again and again. Deacon Sharp, ever blunt, makes it clear, he's relieved. Luna was dangerous. Even Sheila, bleeding and limping, admits she's conflicted. She loved Luna in her twisted way. But Luna was broken, and Sheila knows there's a kind of mercy in her death. Hope sits vigil at Liam's bedside, praying for one more chance. She regrets every argument, every missed moment. Carter stands by her, supportive, but deep down, he knows, if Liam wakes up, Hope might run back to him. Finn can't breathe under the weight of regret. He tries to talk to Steffi, but even she struggles to comfort him. He saved Liam, but at what cost? The daughter he never knew died with him barely lifting a finger to save her. And Lee, his mother, has turned ice cold toward Poppy, blaming her sister for bringing chaos into their lives. Fire the fallout continues, Sheila's survival and rising romance. As Liam's coma lingers, a new chapter brews. Sheila, now missing yet another toe, begins to see a bizarre path to redemption. She protected Steffi in the chaos, taking a bullet, albeit accidental. The media frames her as a tragic anti-hero. Could she finally escape her villain label? Meanwhile, the romance subplot surges. Brooke Logan and Nick Marone step back into the spotlight. Ridge and Taylor, momentarily united in concern for Steffi, begin to wonder if there's still a spark. And Hope and Carter, while still engaged, begin to fray under the pressure. Hope prays for Liam's recovery, but Carter notices her heart isn't fully his. She's still in love with the man in the hospital bed. And Carter? He may not be able to compete with that kind of love. Latin cross symbolic baptism, life, death, and the cycle of rebirth. The week's events function like a spiritual cleansing, a metaphorical baptism that purges sin, secrets, and shame. Bloodshed becomes the holy water. Liam's coma is a tomb from which he may rise, reborn. Luna's death? A tragic ending that offers release from suffering. And those who remain? Forever changed. As the bold and the beautiful hurtles into its next arc, nothing is the same. Families are shattered. Lovers are torn. And under hospital lights that flicker like cathedral candles, every character must ask, what am I willing to sacrifice for the people I love?